Hi, YouTube. Excuse me. I hope you're all doing well today. I'm having an okay day. From what I understand, we have a giant storm moving in. Well, right up above us, they're talking about 16 inches of snow or more. But for here, it said about an inch and a half, or rain, or sleet, or even hail. It's snowing out right now, so I think we are going to get more than what they predicted. It seems like it anyway right now. So I thought, well, I'll get on here and I'll try and get it uploaded. And then if I'm not on here tomorrow, that'll mean it's because of the weather. Because if it doesn't clear out or if we're really snowed in, that does affect the satellite dish. So even streaming stuff when it's stormy out, I have problems. So, and we've tried different services here. It's what we have right now is the best we can get from what I know of our area. So we have woods and hills all around us, and we live in a meadow. Um, that we planted trees on, but we have woods all around us regardless and hills. So it's really hard for us to get this signal where we're at. So I was listening to Lionel Legal yesterday, and I was thinking if there was some like First Amendment right or lack of it, what could help the children? Is there any law on the books at all, or any kind of case that will set a precedence as far as keeping minor children safe from adult language? Is that abuse? What if you said you wanted to f a little baby to their face in a courtroom? Would that be would that constitute a crime towards that child? I mean, I'm actually serious about this. I want to know what kind of language. I mean, everybody's so worried about how they're being bullied, and they're adults. Get a effing grip. I'm talking about the things that are said and done to little people. Where are their rights? Shouldn't there be a certain set of rights? But then on the other hand, we have to be super careful for what we do ask for, because anything that we want to be implemented in the courts could actually be used against us in other ways. So when we're thinking, oh, what we would want written into a bill and put it before the legislator or our governor or whoever, statewide or United States wide, how would we go about bringing more protection for the children? You know, that's a concern on my mind, because there's always, I mean, when a teacher can get away with sexually verbally assaulting students and nothing's done about it, and they're still teaching in the school, and the child was taken out of the school because of the abuses that she was suffering, but yet this adult is still teaching. That's criminal as far as I can see. And whatever, um I mean, the school board should be put on notice, at least, that if this person does something like that again, that they should be fired. They should have been fired anyway, and it is a crime. It should be a felony. When you talk to a child in a sexual manner, when that person is a minor, you're a criminal. In the eyes of God, you are. In the eyes of any parent that loves their child, you are. you know, or they are, rather, you know. So I was thinking yesterday that there was some kind of law that actually would protect them, or something that could be written, that could be implemented, that would give them more protection and parents more control over what their children are going through on this planet. That brings to mind, if you have God in your heart, or you have a faith that you want to teach your child, and you're labeled like a conservative person, well, I don't know. I guess we could look up what the word conservative means. How about I do that? Just a minute. Let's see the definition of conservative. It'll take me a minute to pull it up. Um, because I don't like it. I don't like the damn labels. Even a far freaky liberal could be considered conservative within their perimeters of what their belief system is. Or like if you were going to conserve water, do you see what I mean? The word conservative. I was going to do that, and then it'll just be a moment. It's good, because then I don't have to worry about writing it down, or we'll see, because I want to see what the actual definition of what I'm being called. Ken, Ken, conservative, adverse to change or innovation, and holding traditional values in a political context. Get out of here. Freaking pop up. What? Get out of here. Okay. Right when I start reading in a political context, favoring free enterprise, private ownership, and socially traditional ideas, often contrast with liberal. Okay. Well, they could be considered conservative to their traditional values too, and that brings to mind of a movie I watched. I'll tell you about it. Um, I remember I looked this up about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. What exactly is conservative? Let's see what Merriam-Webster has to say. If I recall, they actually had the lamest explanation of the whole thing. Conservative, or constituting a political party professing the principles of conservative, such as constituting party of the United Kingdom, advocating support for established institutions, trending or disposed to maintain existing views, conditions, or institutions, marked or moderation or caution, marked by or relating to traditional norms of taste, elegance, style, or manners, or manner. A member or supporter of a conservative political party, one who adheres to traditional methods of views, cautious, or a discreet person. And it's a noun, and the word, the history, the etymology, the first known use was the 14th century, in the meaning defined number 4, which would be, or old school. There's all kinds of Preservative. Okay, that was number four. Here's some other words that go along with it. Um, Button down, old school, reactionary, traditionalist, die hard, old fashioned, orthodox, um, ultra conservative, old line, traditional, unprogressive. That's some, yeah, baloney right there. But boy, we've been set up, totally set up, just even with the language. Yep, it's a setup, people. So, yeah. There was more. It's just like I already had enough when they were sitting there, like, when they say, okay, conservative, so you're adverse to change? Absolutely not. That's not true. Within the perimeters of my values, I'm adverse to change. Why wouldn't I be? You know, just because something's new doesn't mean it's better, you know? It's like a new truck versus maybe an old 4 by. You get an old Ford 4 by with that steel that they were made out of, and the running gear and the motors, everything was tougher about a lot of old trucks. There's just a for instance where new is not always better. And then you get all that electronical stuff in there, and that really doesn't help, especially if you're kind of like me and you have a tendency to have um, electrical problems, or around if your electronics are kind of reactionary to your energy, you know. So yeah, like I say, we've been set up with the language and all, you know. So yeah, today's kind of gloomy. Yesterday was too, but I'm sore. I had a really sore night. My arm bugged me all night long. Doug looked like that too when he woke up. He was like sore, getting old, like Katharine Hepburn, not one of my favorite actresses. I mean, she was good, but she just was an old hoe, sleeping with somebody else's husband and talking to their children like it was nothing. And just, but she said getting old isn't for sissies. True, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a big fan of hers even. Somewhat when I was too young to understand actually what she was. And then it's like, okay, whatever. It's one thing maybe to have an affair and the whole world's watching you, but when you're having that affair and then you go talk to these women's children, the man that you're having an affair with, and involve them in a conversation about why you love their father, that's way whacked, you know. Stuff like that, the things that she did like that were just outrageous, you know. So adverse, yeah, adverse to change. I was thinking of Audrey Hepburn, a different Hepburn, is my favorite actress, I think, of all time. Just because of one movie she was in that is my favorite movie, Roman Holiday, which brings to mind, wasn't Roman, it was Egyptian and the Canaanites. But I was watching that movie, Joseph, which was like a 3 hour movie. And it started out on lies, and there was a few of them kind of sprinkled in with a bunch of truth too, and that's what bummed me out. And I thought about sharing it, until I got to this part where um, Joseph's wife was taking a bath and her two sons were there, and they looked to be about 5 or 6, and the one turned around and it showed his butt or buttocks, and then posterior, whatever you want to call, um, which I thought was absolutely crude with all the stuff that goes on in this world. And then the mother got up and stood frontal naked. It didn't show it, but it showed her being naked in front of her sons and putting a towel on herself. Why even put the towel on, rag bag? You already showed them everything you've got. It's like, yeah, talk about the Canaanites and the way it was um, in Egypt, for some of them, that bloodline, uh, not Joseph's bloodline, because he was from Jacob, a different tribe, where the tribes of Israel actually came from, whole set of different people. But the ones that are nasty like that, they're the ones that started taking over the whole world. And go figure, look at the world today. It's not much different. And I do know people, well, gee, it's said that even the President of the United States was taking a shower with his daughter, and she had memories of that. That's about as gross as you can get on this planet. Talk about a fear factor, you know? That's sad. Otherwise, I'd share the movie. I would rate the movie on a scale from 1 to 10. I'd have to give it a 5 because of the child nudity in it and what's it even doing on YouTube. It's nudity's nudity. Just because they're not in a sexual act, does that mean it's not nudity? It still is. You know, I wouldn't want my kid up there in front of the whole world like that. Whoever gave birth to that child should be knocked in their fucking head because it isn't working. You might as well just smash that shit anyway. Doesn't work right? Turn it off. That's sick. And it did piss me off. It did really wreck the whole rest of the movie for me. You know, am I overly sensitive? No, I'm super protective about that type of stuff in our world. And I'm not going to say that this is okay and just brush it off and say, oh, well, it's really not that big a deal. It's a big fucking deal, a great big deal. Got to go and wreck a movie just because of that. And what's wrong with them motherfuckers, even back in that day? If they could make clothes and they did have like underwear type things, why not swim? Or why not swim? Why not watch your children bathe and get them out, dress them up? I mean, they had all kinds of servants and slaves, and then take your own damn bath by yourself. What the was wrong with these people or people even back then? So they were retarded right from the start, right out of the gate, you know? Can you imagine taking a bath with your child of a different sex, even? Even with the same sex, that's grody enough when you think about it. If you think about it, if I ran this world, you'd probably hate me worse than you might anyway, because the things that I deem are filthy, a lot of people wouldn't think anything of it. Watch the movie, see what I saw. It's called Joseph. It says that you have to pay for it, but I just turned it on and it started playing, and I finished watching it. Took me a couple evenings, and I would say for the value of some of the things that you might learn of the story and the history and how they were uh, passing on the stories of the family bloodline and that type of stuff. That was really interesting. I mean, there's some good things in there, but for the most part, I don't know. What a bummer, you know. There's so many times I turn on a show and I'm really enjoying it, and then they got to go and pull something stupid and totally wreck the whole thing for me, whereas somebody else would just keep sitting there and I'm like totally upset, you know. So, pretty safe if I'm watching somebody like psychiatrist Jordan Peterson or something. I don't think he's ever going to get up and do something nasty. I was listening to Michael Pearl from the Door Ministry on YouTube. It's called Door or The Door, and he had a young man on there that was talking about how he listens to Dr. Jordan Peterson, but said that Mr. Peterson wasn't a Christian. And I thought, shame on you, you little freak, whoever you are, because Dr. Jordan Peterson and his wife Tammy have some most excellent content as far as taking care of children. Yesterday, I passed around how people with attention deficit disorder probably don't have that disorder unless they do have like missing neurons or something that aren't firing the right way or something like that. But especially like in boys, how it's hard for them to sit in school because boys should play. They should be out keeping busy. And that's a lot what I did with my children is keep them busy until they were so tired they just fall into bed and fall asleep. You feed them, you clean them up, put them in bed, and you know they're going to sleep well. Well, they don't get the same kind of care in a public school system. So they're sitting there, and if they have the urge to get up and run around or expel some of their energy, and girls too, but they're not allowed to do that. They said, well, girls have a tendency to be able to. They're more. Um, it's more to their nature to sit and learn like that. I'm not so sure about that, you know. So, how much more do you actually learn in a public school system after you learn how to read and write on your own? You know, unless there's something like history and economics and um, that type of stuff. Maybe, uh, which they don't really teach about cultures anymore, and they don't talk about civics, and they really don't teach children anything about government. They don't teach you how to balance your and account for your money. I mean, all the important things that people need to do in life, they don't teach you. So, I don't know, what are they good for? Maybe kids really shouldn't even go to school at all. But if they did, maybe they should start going to school at about 18. you know, Send them to preschool for kindergarten and first grade to get them acclimated to socialize with children. And that's what I think a lot of small towns should start doing is having like civic centers where homeschool children could go, or even in libraries without the freaks in there, um, where they could go in and socialize with other children and, have a real story hour read by a real human being instead of some kind of satanic puppet trying to bring your children down. You know, just my thoughts today. you know, I'll never approve of that. Never. There's no reason for it. You know, and if somebody thinks they are, you've got screws loose that I would like to tighten with. I have a Power Max screw gun. Yeah, come here. Let me help you. You know. So anyway, yeah, just a few things on my mind. So, what does everybody think about President Trump? Do you think this is part of the game plan? I personally do. I'll never see the whole system as separate in any country or any party or anything. This, and just talking about the Canaanites and from way back when and their mindset and who they are and what they do and what they've always done, um, nothing's changed. No, it hasn't. So it's pretty sad all the way around. Now, there's a lot of people that do believe that Trump's like a good guy and he's going to pull this country out of its stupor. That's a possibility. If anything could happen good, that's probably the best hope that we actually do have, because what's going on now is beyond regression. You know, I mean, like the cost of inflation, for instance, has never gone backwards. Once it goes up, it stays there. And then when the people complain enough, they'll wait about 5, 6 years and then uh, wait till people are totally broke and have expended all of their anything extra they tried to save, and then they'll implement a wage, um, like increase on wage for people, minimum wage increase when people scream loud enough. And that's been going on all my life. My first job, I think I made, well, besides my paper route and delivering different papers and other stuff that was just like cash, but I think it was 63 cents an hour. Yeah. It could have been even less than that. And I remember even like right up to the 70s, it was like a dollar something. Like when I made $1.75 an hour, I thought, wow, sick. Now you'll be lucky if you can find a cup of coffee for $1.75 out out in the wild. Yeah, I was gonna say out in public, but out in the wild sounds better. So, well, I hope everybody's doing good, and you know, really, are there any laws that are protecting the children? And I don't think there's enough of that going on. And I think going forward with all this circus show stuff, clown show stuff, we have to be really careful the way we word things and the way what our wishes for our family members are to protect them in the future. So that's it's a pretty big deal. Well, everybody, um, peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I love y'all. Talk to you soon.